Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Unnamed Cybersecurity Show. Um, Carl DePrado here from New York, Bob Mitchie, Metro PC out of New Jersey, Chris Burns, our Midwest champion out of Michigan, I believe, Madman of Michigan. And we have Matt Weaver out of the wonderful state of Pennsylvania. So, Chris.
I wouldn't call me a Midwest champion.
Well, okay.
Ask me in the summer, I'll be a Midwest champion. Ask me in the winter, different story. So,
besides seasonal mood disorders going on, what's challenging us with the with cybersecurity? What are you seeing on the forefront for yourself?
I'm sad for so many reasons. Weather being one of them. Change Healthcare happened in February. We kind of talked about it. We touched on it before. So it's been 2 months. February 21st was the date. And the Wall Street Journal a few days ago came out with an article, and they were just kind of detailing the whole thing that's happened. So if you're not aware, Change Healthcare processes a ridiculous amount of pharmacy and basically healthcare payments, right? A ridiculous amount of the United States. It's something like 1/3 to half the people. And they had a cyber attack. And people close to this, they're basically the U.S. clearinghouse for medical payments. They're one of the largest. So a lot of doctors' offices, medical facilities, and stuff like that have really struggled throughout this because they couldn't get paid. And then United Healthcare is the parent company. Mm-hmm. They took I think they're anticipating like a $1.6 billion loss for this. But that's not the part that really is really just irritating about the whole situation. Look, we live in a world where people are going to get breached. Bad things are going to happen, right? But the Wall Street Journal basically reported that they had 9 days inside of Change Health, and it looks like it was a remote access tool that rhymes with Screen Connect, allegedly, that didn't have multi-factor authentication on, and all they had was stolen credentials. So they had stolen credentials. They had validated credentials for a user. They allegedly used this tool that rhymes with Screen Connect to log in, and then they were able to move laterally and do everything they need to do, exfiltrate 4 terabytes worth of data in the 9 days, and then hit them with ransomware.
9 days. Wow.
Yeah, so they had 9 days to do this, and you can say a lot of things. So these are. Good adversary is going to be kind of quiet when they're moving laterally throughout the network and trying to figure out what they can get and everything like that. But when you blast out 4 terabytes of data in 9 days, that's not being quiet. And if you can't detect that, that's kind of a
that's like you brought a band into a library, a heavy metal band.
Yeah. So cybersecurity controls obviously were lacking. Not having multi-factor on an external remote access system is lacking. And this comes from the Wall Street Journal and a couple of other sources as well. But the Wall Street Journal, this is specifically about that. The worst part about it is they paid the ransom. They finally admitted to paying the $22 million ransom to LV, who then did an exit scam, didn't pay the affiliate, and took the money and closed up. But here's the problem. The affiliate still had the data. So the affiliate went to Ransom Hub and said, hey, we want to do another ransom and say we're going to leak this data. And they tried to hit him with another ransom. And I don't think they paid that, but the data started getting leaked.
So let's go back. Let's unpack this for a second, Chris, because you just threw out a lot of technical terms here. And as today's moderator, I'm going to slow us down a little bit. One was we talked about the fact that, the affiliate. Let's talk about the affiliate. What was that? So you're saying that they did an exit scam. So Alfie, Black Hat, known by many different names. Yeah.
So they're the ransomware operator. They're the ransomware as a service operator. So they make the ransomware. They sell the service. The affiliate is the person or persons that usually do the hacking, and then they deploy the ransomware. The payment will come into
deploy it, and they're the ones who normally have the data or are holding the keys to the system.
Yeah. So the ransomware operator, in this case LV, gets paid, and then they pay the affiliate.
So in a very simple way, they're like an agent. They're like the people they're the
Essen-
front facing people that they're dealing with. They're the broker, and
Yeah,
then there's
exactly.
the actual people who own the property.
Kind of.
Yeah,
The-
they own
El-
the
El- Elf-
keys to the
Elfie is the manufacturer.
Yep.
And the distributor is the affiliate.
Okay.
So they distribute the ransomware, but the distributor themselves don't get paid in this sense. The distributor is more like an affiliate.
Yep.
Like we talked about. It's kind of like online marketing where you can sell somebody else's product. They pay the person directly and then you get your cut as the affiliate. So you get your payment, right? Same thing plays in this game. So when they got $22 million, instead of paying the affiliate what they should have, which the affiliates usually get a pretty hefty percentage of it because they're actually doing
somewhere
higher than that. Some are like 80 or 90%. But it really just depends on who it is. But and this isn't the first exit scam that's happened. So they got paid $22 million and they'd already had their problems with the FBI taking over their dark website back in December. So they just decided, I guess, just do an exit scam. So an exit scam is basically where you take the money and you just run. You close up. You show out your affiliates.
Guys aren't trustworthy?
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you hired a contractor to do the kitchen, and when the contractor took all the money, and then but they were supposed to contract out the plumber, the electrician, and all the other people, and they didn't get paid.
Yeah, and you're left holding the bag.
You're left holding the bag.
So you're gonna
maybe 3 times.
You're gonna sting a lot of people with that one because that never happens.
That never. Yeah.
Anyway, so it doesn't look like they paid the second ransom from Ransom Hub, so the data starts getting leaked. To give you a perspective of how many transactions Change Health does in a year, it's 15 billion.
Wow.
They process 15 billion and they touch allegedly 1 in 3 medical records.
15 billion transactions
a year, and they touch 1 in 3 medical records. If you pretty much have touched healthcare in the United States, there's a good chance your data is going to be leaked, your social security number, everything. Like it's pretty much done, right? Lawmakers are raising questions about this. And they've been raising questions about this for a long time. Health and Human Services is like, we're going to launch a probe into it. I don't know what you're launching the probe into. They admitted the data got stolen. The data's been published. Don't have to do much of a probe. I guess if you want to find out how negligent they were, I don't know. They had something in their system that didn't have MFA, that had remote access, and they clearly didn't have very good controls or monitoring internally. Again, some of these adversaries are very quiet and can get around a lot of things, and you may not notice them because they're incredibly intelligent. But this just doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe it is. Maybe it's overblown. But the fact of the matter is like 1 in 3 people's data is probably out there. Nothing changes. We see all of these things. Government won't make privacy regulations. There's not enough teeth on any of these fines. Consolidation of companies has been allowed to an extent where one company can do 1 in 3 medical transactions, touch 1 in 3 medical records in the United States. Is that a good idea? Are we asking the right questions?
Probably.
And
so we're on this call. There's 4 of us here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that if we just looked at so 1 1/3 of us, if statistically our information is out on, has been compromised.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the steps? I'm going to throw this to either Bob or Matt. What are some of the steps we could be doing to protect ourselves? Because that type of breach, my thought is that you should automatically expect that your information is now out online and now on the dark web. Guys?
Well, here's the thing, Carl. All the information we're seeing that's going to be out here, this is all personal information. This is all medical information about that person, and a lot of all the demographics about that person, which opens up a whole can of worms. Because if you look at any medical record out there, it knows everything about that person from where they are, what their social security number is, and so, right now, is going to be, okay, we're going to start with credit freezes across the board. And
so
really
credit freeze is something I could do. I could do a credit freeze for myself.
You can do a credit freeze. You can actually contact anyone on watching this call can contact the credit bureaus today and freeze their credit. And basically it's going to block any inquiries of that creditors make when they go and open up loans in someone's name. because we've seen that many times where the bad guys go and open up new loans and or even put mortgages on houses and they don't own the house. So
Wow.
for this instance, it's going to be credit monitoring for the individual. Now, if you run a business that actually has medical data, well, you need to start doing more and more. And we just found out in New Jersey that being HIPAA compliant is not enough to avoid a fine.
Mm.
There was a
Interesting.
New Jersey just fined a medical practice for having a data breach and said they didn't do enough. They were compliant to the letter of the law for HIPAA, but New Jersey levied basically a privacy fine of over $400,000, citing that they didn't do enough. So, states are now trying to crack down, but like Chris said, there is no there's no national data privacy laws at this point.
Well, that's always goes back to sometimes the most important elections are local elections because they do tend to change laws.
Well, let's talk about what Bob just said though. Compliance is just basically adhering to a minimum set of rules.
Yeah, exactly.
So compliance regulations in general doesn't change that often. So you look at the rate of change in the landscape that we face, right? All the attacks that we face, compliance doesn't really change enough for that. So I actually applaud New Jersey in trying to hold people to a higher standard because you can check boxes and you can say, hey, I'm compliant, but like that does not mean you're secure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
There's still steps you need to take. So kudos to New Jersey for slapping somebody about this. Actually, I probably shouldn't say slapping somebody. That's probably bad.
Yeah.
For holding them accountable for not doing enough. They need to do more and we all need to do more, but that's awesome.
Hey, Matt, I'm going to grab you for a second. So, we're talking, change, huge company, and most companies we're dealing with are a lot smaller in range. And let's face it, even with all the breaches and fines, they're probably not going out of business. But what would, if a company was running with the same basic structure, a smaller company, let's even say a bank, local bank, a gym, gyms, stuff like that, and they were working with this type of what appears to be from the outside negligence or incompetence, what would normally happen?
Nothing good. I mean, bottom line is a lot of the laws, like Chris said, haven't had teeth and haven't had large fines, but we're starting to see the tables turning on that. And bringing it back to, you can be compliant, but that's not always good enough. Compliance law is slow. Technology is very, very, very quick. So being small isn't only it's not an excuse. It almost makes you an easier target. Sure, they'd rather get the 4 terabytes of data from change, but anything's worth money when they sell it, and anyone can be ransomed, and the smaller ones tend to be a little bit easier. So we'll cast a wide net. I mean, as for what happens, that seems to be changing on a really consistent basis and depends on what regulations that kind of business was under in the first place. But I think the days of a slap on the wrist are behind us, which for the consumer and other businesses long term, but short term, while everyone's getting their act together, probably very scary for most small businesses.
I heard something once, and this is probably the easiest way to describe this. Compliance is doing things right. Security is doing the right things.
That's really a great way to put it. And let's face it, you can be compliant and still go out of business through one of these breaches. So it doesn't matter that going to the minimum standards is not really a good roadmap for success.
No, and we're going to see, going back to change real quick, we're going to see the fallout for this for months, if not years. I would add this too, with medical data and the health data that gets exposed. Where's the insurance industry going to stand when individuals start getting blackmailed? So let's say you have a disease that could tank your company because you're the CEO of it, and they blackmail you saying they're going to tell people your medical history.
Mhm.
They're going to give it to your competitors. They're going to tell you. So they come to you and they blackmail you. Your credit freeze doesn't mean shit at that point.
Yeah.
Now they're coming after you personally, or maybe they come after the board members. Maybe they can get enough on the board, and they can dictate decisions inside of a business.
Yeah. Hey, we released this
Because they can blackmail people.
Your stock tanks.
Yeah, they can torpedo businesses. They can torpedo people. They can ruin lives of politicians. Right? They could ruin the lives of the people that they could force legislation through by just basically blackmailing a bunch of like legislators.
So they're going to release. So Chris, they're going to release all the documentation on STDs.
Well, I mean, STIs.
I guess this is no longer a family show.
But what if I mean, what if you have cancer? What if you have HIV? What if you have a disease that really does limit your life?
Sure.
And that you haven't told people. Maybe you have a list of 15 STIs that you have. Maybe.
Well, let's talk
And
about one
if they
thing
release that out in the public, what is that going to do for you as a person? That's a big deal. And we could
suffering from cancer doesn't want to share that. I mean, we just had the whole thing with Kate Middleton where she was trying to hide that fact.
Mhm.
And so people don't want to, regardless of the disease, that's we do believe in a certain sense of privacy and decorum.
Well, we may. There's plenty of people who don't.
Well, generally, if we're working in a balanced society.
And let's take this further. Let's say this information is sold to data brokers. So let's say that you have cancer or you have something else. Well, now these data brokers have this information. Maybe they go on the dark web. Maybe they buy this information, and now they've already got a profile on you. If you think you're on the internet and you're anonymous, just you might as well stop watching now. We're gonna burn your house down here.
That's
They will
not an actual arson threat. I need to be clear.
Money lenders, you find this stuff. Oh, he's got cancer. He's got something. None of that doesn't have to be disclosed when you're doing financial transactions. But now, the data that's out there.
What if you get you'll get served up ads based off of what they have? They know who you are. So if they've collected enough information about you, they may have location data on you. They may have all your medical history now. Now that they'll have your name, your address, your phone number, they'll know the IPs you come from. They'll be able to serve you up ads based off of what you have. Not just that, now that data can be bought by pretty much anybody else. One of the bills that they just passed, and this kind of goes back, and I'll parlay this a little bit into a bill that just passed over the weekend, is they're trying to ban TikTok. Mm-hmm. And they're calling it the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. It was buried inside of the big bill for support for Israel, Ukraine, and I think Taiwan might be in there too, but it's buried inside that bill. And there's two parts to that. There's two parts. There's a data part about data brokers protecting data from Foreign Adversaries Act, and that's the next part of it. The first part specifically mentions ByteDance and TikTok. And they basically are saying, hey, if it's a web app or an application that can display data, and it's controlled by a foreign adversary, they have to divest. That's basically what it's saying. Mm-hmm. I hate to break it to them. China is not just TikTok. So if they really want to, this bill is specifically designed basically around social media. If you read it, it's really around social media. It's around being able to share information with people and stuff like that. If they own at least a 20% stake, there's some other things, but then it goes on to a data broker part of it where it's like a data broker can't sell information to a foreign adversary. So they're like, okay, cool. We're going to put a data broker limit in, but here's the problem with that. They can't sell to a foreign adversary, but they can collect all this information on us in the United States. They can sell it to a country that isn't a foreign adversary who could then take that data and still sell it to the foreign adversary. This bill does nothing. It's literally nothing. They're trying to destroy a social media app because they've got a bunch of information about the CCP might actually be doing stuff with this data. There's been nothing proven, and I'm not trying to defend China. That's not what I'm saying here. This is a slippery slope that we go down, and if we're going to make rules, we're going to make laws, let's make laws that apply to all companies. data brokers can't sell data outside the United States, period. Limit what data brokers can collect, period. If your interest is to protect us, protect us. Don't put lipstick on a pig here. Protect us. Yeah. Pass laws that limit what people can collect on us and what the people could do to it. And then if you want to go GDPR, if you want to say, hey, it's 4% of global revenue, if you get a violation up to 4% of global revenue, do that. Hell, let's go 10% of global revenue. Why not?
There you go.
Let's keep going. Let's get to a point where it really hurts to do this to us. Not just a little bit, a lot. And that's where change happens. Change doesn't happen when you just put these BS laws in place that don't really do anything. That's my rant.
No, it would fix more of the root of the problem than this, one thing they seem to be going after.
Yeah, because I bet you half those people that voted on this own Meta and Alphabet.
Oh, they absolutely
actually got a lot of shares in there.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And she's the spearhead of the bill. But closing up, wrapping this up today, as far as change and even the policies, we're seeing a system that doesn't really support the small business owner and protecting their data. Change isn't coming up anytime soon on the landscape. So, I'm going to make a shameless plug here. I think we all offer a service called a cybersecurity risk assessment, which we actually feel is one of the more critical things that you can do for your business. It really shows where the holes are as far as the data is concerned and helps you plug in and make a proactive and intelligent choices in what you should do and simplifies the whole method of cybersecurity and best practices. And if you're not doing this on a regular basis, it's sort of like, it's like the guy who doesn't do checkups and looks great up until the time he hits 45, gets on a treadmill, and everybody goes the next hour. What happened to him? So, doing this is really something that really helps with the longevity and the vitality of your business. So, if you're in the areas, if you're in the Northeast, and you're running a concern, feel free to reach out to any of us. Anybody else wanted to give any other closing thoughts?
I just cancel myself, so don't worry about me.
You can find Chris on TikTok.
Actually, you can, but that's a different story.
We're not affiliated with him. I'm not affiliated with that.
Just do something.
Yes.
Do something. Look at your business. Look at like whatever. We can talk about risk assessments, things like that. You should be doing risk assessments in every aspect of your business, but specifically, ask yourself this question: if I'm hit with an attack tomorrow, if whether it's an employee that does it or an adversary, foreign or internal, will my business be there the next day? What material impact will that have on my business and my livelihood and my ability to support my employees and their families and my family if you're a solo owner, or if you're multiple owners, your families? What does it look like? And if you're not looking at those scenarios, you're doing yourself a disservice in your business. You're doing yourself a disservice to your employees and their families and everybody that's affected. So if you distribute to other companies, you have maybe 20 customers that use your product or service that then goes downstream from there. You're doing a disservice to them as well.
And I'll give you one. I'm going to give you the closing one here today. Quick one step everybody can do to protect their business. Go down your vendor list, whether that's your accountant, your attorneys, everybody you're doing business with, whether that's your consultants. Look at their email account. Let's just take a simple step. If you see at Gmail, at Yahoo, at AOL, be aware that they're not taking their business security seriously, and have a conversation with them. Either that they're going to, or look to replace them, because the chances of you becoming breached, the bigger that list of key vendors are that have those free email accounts, the much higher you are at risk. It's almost like we haven't run like a little vector here, but just go through that list.
Man.
And do that, and then maybe we could talk next week about how to check and make just some quick cursory things to make sure that you're working with the right people.
Damn it. Now I got to get rid of my SBC Global email. Damn it.
All right. Well, folks, it was a pleasure.
Okay.
We'll see you guys
On
all
that
next
note,
week.
Have a good week, guys.
have a good week, guys.